Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Joe. It's my channel, Eager Expat. If you've never met me before, it's just daily looks around Bangkok. Retired in California at age 56, and I'm doing a lot of thinking lately because next year in 2026, I'm turning 60. And I know that's no big deal for all my buddies that are already in their 60s, but this one's kind of hit me a little bit. I remember turning 50, and that's a big one in everybody's life. But at 50, I was so looking forward to retiring at age 56 that I couldn't wait to turn 56. Then, of course, I wanted things to slow down, and it seemed like we went from 56 to now almost 60, June of 2026. In 6 months, it's really going pretty quick. But I wanted to go over some things about thinking about turning 60 in Bangkok, Thailand. So hopefully you'll follow me along on this video, or for other just street tours and just daily living in town. That's what I do. So check out the channel. And I'm getting a lot of new subscribers, and hey, that's great. Shoot a comment if you're new and have any questions about my little channel and what it's about. Other folks know I'm just showing my condo and my different walks around town. Oftentimes I'll just walk up and down an entire street and show you every apartment building, hotel, restaurant, bar. Again, I'm just out exploring, and I'm taking the camera along. And other times we'll be in the different pubs and restaurants, just hanging out with friends or hanging out with my girlfriend. But we keep it pretty, we'll call it G-rated. I'm not opposed to hanging out with buddies down at Soy Cowboy or Nana Plaza. It's not something I do. Heck, I haven't been down to Cowboy or well, no, I was at Cowboy with friends. We stopped in to watch one of the cover bands just last weekend. Before that, it's been a couple of months, so it's not a lot of that type of action if that's the channel you're looking for. Even that evening at Cowboy, I just left the camera in my pocket. Not many folks that are working on Soy Cowboy, much less customers that are just hanging out, want to be on my YouTube channel. Like I say, I remember turning 50 yesterday. I was in Buenos Aires just on a little South America run. Let's see, I went to Peru, Chile, Buenos Aires, Uruguay, Paraguay in about a 3-week vacation. So I did a lot of running around, just hitting countries I'd never gone. I'd been down to Brazil, but I'd never gone down to Buenos Aires. And while I'm there, it's real easy just to go over to Uruguay and Paraguay, and I went to each just for one day. Now that I'm retired, I have nothing but time, so that is a great thing. Who knows? Maybe I'll get back to South America. And with all that being said, I've started coming back to Thailand in, can't remember if it was 2012, and I've probably been back at least a half dozen times since, before I retired 3 years ago now. And again, zero regrets. I love it here. I visited dozens and dozens of countries. I was counting them all, and if you want to count all the countries that aren't even here anymore, and I do, you know, it was a country back in the day. So I stopped counting at about 80, and who knows where I'm at now. And this is where I decided to retire, and there's no looking back. I love it here. But I'm also trying to be realistic. I'm in pretty darn good shape right now. Well, I'm not in the greatest of shape, but health-wise, I'm fine. I make these videos. Sometimes I'm out walking 10 kilometers. I'll do 3-4 street tour videos that are a half hour, 45 minutes each, and that is no easy feat when it's 100 degrees outside. Oftentimes I'll do them in the early evening and then go into the evening, and then I swim my laps and all. The old knee and a couple of knee scopes later, I'm not great at running anymore, and I like my San Miguel lights, so that's a trade-off I'm gonna have to accept. And with my little YouTube channel here, I have just met hundreds of people over the last 3 years here in town, if not just out around town. We'll have some different meetups and pretty darn good friends, and we just hang out all the time. But going through all these different stories I hear from different folks, there are a lot of people in their later 60s into their 70s that are still out here running around doing it, and I sure hope that's me, just out traveling. I met a guy the other day. I had no idea he was 81 and still traveling from the United States over here to Thailand, and he was heading off on a European trip earlier next year, and then he said he'll be back over here in Thailand. So I sure hope that's me at 81, but I don't know. I've had a pretty, I don't want to say I had a hard life, but I've kind of wore myself out. Let's put it that way. Just working 10 and 12-hour days as many days as I could. So who knows? Who knows if I'm gonna even be around at age 80? So from 60 to hopefully 75, I'm still kicking and have the energy to get out and about, and I'm not going to waste a second of it. And I don't really feel like I've wasted any time in life, much less the last 3 years of my retirement. I've did plenty of things. I was single for about the first year and a half, and then I met my girlfriend Boone, and I don't know, we've been together a little over a year and a half, and I've kind of got re-excited about taking her places that I might have been a half dozen times, but she's never been to Tokyo. So yeah, I'll take her there and show her what little I know, and we're heading off to Korea soon. We've gone, let's see, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple in there, but just having a great time. And who knows, we'll probably go further and points beyond. And we've also explored many parts of Thailand. I guess in my head, I get a bump in my pension. I'm grateful I did. I worked over 40 years, 37 of them federal time, 4 years in the Navy, and I was a mailman forever. So I'm in a good position pension-wise, and I've owned condos and homes in San Diego, so put some money in savings there. So I'm sitting pretty good, yet I did retire early, 56 in 2 months, I believe. So I get it. That is a long time to just live on pension, or a smallish pension and savings. And my first thoughts were, well, I'm going to take it easy, try to live frugal, and I'm still going to enjoy myself. I'm not going to try to live on $1,000 a month or anything like that. And I don't have to. But as I'm looking at 60, I guess I always thought, hey, at age 62, I'm going to turn up the volume because I'm going to get that bump in my pension. I don't want to upset anybody, but I get 75% of my Social Security at age 56. It's a government program if you're over 30 years of service, and I was at 37 years at age 56. So I had more than enough seniority. I just didn't have the age. But at age 62, I get that other 25%, plus it's made, I don't know, 15 or 20% in COLAs. I don't get a COLA from age 56 to 62. In fact, my pension goes down because the health insurance goes up every year. And other people have made comments, oh, you're lucky to have your free federal health care. Well, no, I pay $295 just for the single policy. I'm grateful to have it. I'm sure it's I don't know, over $1,000 policy. So I'll gladly pay $295. But since I retired, it's gone up 50 or 60 bucks. And it'll probably go up another 50 or 60 before I hit that age 62 mark. And then hopefully get some colas if they're available. One guy was getting on me in the comments, what a ripoff. How do you get in your Social Security at age 56? You know, what a scam. And I said, hey, you know, I know the people. I will gladly send you down to the employment office there at the post office, and you do 33 years and you can do the same thing. Now, the guys I get a little jealous of are the police and firemen that oftentimes get a slip out of there at age 50 or sometimes even younger if they have whatever it is. Different cities have different rules. I actually got hired by San Diego Police Harbor Patrol, and yeah, I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but being a mailman in San Diego, not bad. I had a great route that I don't even know how long I was on that route, probably 24 years. It was the type of route you did not give up. And one of my best friends in the world, he has that route today. So I'm glad. Every time we talk, he says, I created a masterpiece of a route that, you know, if you have to go to work, you might as well work smart, not hard. And we work plenty hard. I mean, carrying mail is, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I'm sure it's a little more difficult in the snow or the heat of, say, Phoenix. But yeah, we certainly put in our time. Plus, I was on that overtime list the entire time from day one at the post office until the day I retired. I was use me overtime anywhere you need, on my route, on somebody else's route. I'll come in on my day off and do somebody else's route. I had a plan to retire early, and I did everything I could to bank as much savings as I could. When other folks who maybe weren't even working the overtime were out buying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 cars, I was gladly driving around my, whatever it was, 12, 13-year-old little Mazda and banking what I could. And here I am today. I'm staring at 60, and again, I've thought twice about spending $1,000. Now, I did it 100 times. Taipei, that's maybe one I left off the list. We just went to Taipei, and then 3 weeks later, we went to Singapore, and now about 6 weeks later, we're going to Korea. And all those trips are over $1,000. Well, what are you going to do when you get there? When we go to Korea, we're hitting the ski lifts, and we're going to try all kinds of different restaurants and all. But to me, these are life's experiences. I know some people, they might say that's a waste. You ought to just be sitting home and eating street food and counting every penny. Again, I'm in a pretty fortunate position that I worked and saved my entire life, and yeah, I could probably afford to waste money if you want to put it that way. Again, I don't see it as a waste. I see it as enjoying my life. We talk about it often amongst my friends. We had a very good friend who he was in a very good position. His condo was paid off. He had a nice amount of savings. He had the same type of post office pension and covered his health care and all. And we were just good friends. And I was telling him, he knew from, 3 or 4 years before I retired, he knew I had an exact retirement date, and I was out of here. I had my plan. And he was even kind of thinking along the same lines, but he was about 10 years older than me. And he just kept working, and he kept working, and I was just really encouraging him. And what are you doing, man? I'm turning 56 next month, and you're turning whatever, 65. Get out of here. And it was kind of the same old story of, well, no, I'm going to wait, till whatever, 68 and get more Social Security and all. Well, he passed away. He finally retired, and I think he might have collected one retirement check, and he passed away. So who knows how much time any of us have left. I'm kind of counting on sticking around, and I have no regrets. If I were to pass tomorrow, I've lived a great life. No regrets at all. There's not I'd like to go to base camp at Everest, but there's not a whole lot of things that, on my bucket list that I haven't checked off over the years. And I'll probably say it a couple of times in this video. If you're watching a channel like mine, or perhaps you've been over here on a visit and maybe you're considering pulling the trigger and moving over, if it's for half the year or full time, whatever the case is, life is just too short. I mean, do what you want to do. You can always move back home, but this kind of notion of having to need an extra 70,000, 200,000, whatever your number is, to stick around and work that extra 5 years or whatever the case is. I'm just making up the numbers. It's time we have way less of. We can all budget our finances and we'll do just fine. I mean, people that are, I tend to find the people that are the most worried about savings and investments and all, they're never going to be able to spend the amount of money they saved. And when they come over to Thailand, I mean, still almost trying to spend money, it's pretty darn difficult to spend more than, say, $5,000 over here in Thailand. And that's taking a nice trip every month and going to steakhouse and lobster restaurants and on and on. I mean, I kind of spend a lot of money over here, and I'm floating around $3,500 if it's a crazy trip month. I'm sure this Korea trip will add another $1,000 to my budget that month, but I factor that in. It's a line item on my budget, just like rent and cell phone, travel, right there on the third line. All right, maybe it's on the fourth or fifth line, but it's pretty important to me. Now, as far as living here, I'm I don't think I'm ever going to be grouchy. I've known some people over the years in their 30s that were just jerks, just grouchy and and upset all the time, and I never really understood it. I'm running into some of those same people in their 60s and 70s here in Thailand, in Bangkok, and I just avoid those people now. I guess I used to, I don't know, try to straighten them out or something like that, but now it's I just do everything I can. If I see one or two of those people, I just cross the room or I head to another restaurant. It's just to try to live a more mellow life. I guess you call those toxic people. I just have no room for it. There's so many good people in my life and so many good people hanging out here around Bangkok. That's probably why I enjoy it. Compared to a lot of other countries, and some countries very nearby, there are people that do nothing but complain. I don't know. Maybe they just have complained their whole life in the UK or Australia or the US, and now they find themselves in, say, Cambodia, and they're still doing nothing but complaining. Nothing is ever good enough. But here in Bangkok, there's a few hoops and hurdles, or in Thailand in general, a few hoops and hurdles you have to jump through. It's a good visa system, yet others will totally complain like, it's a scam. You have to put 800,000 baht, which is today about, 26,000 in the bank and all. Okay, I don't know if that's a scam. You put it in the bank, and if you want to leave, you take your money. So to the guy who thinks it's a scam, I don't want to be around that guy. I'm glad he thinks it's a scam and is not coming here, because the other 99% of us that are here, we're happy to be here. And yeah, who wants to tie up $26,000? But that's the price of doing business. And if you're wondering, I'm cutting through the DoubleTree Hotel on Soi 26, right in the Prompong area of Bangkok. This is probably one of the more popular areas for expats and locals alike. It's a nice area right next to the Sukhumvit light green line. Easily get around Bangkok. It'll connect to, that's the above ground train, and it'll take you to the MRT, which is the underground, the more subway. So it's a great area. And I didn't mean to open a can of worms bringing up the visa requirements and all. That's just one of the major complaints you'll hear. I sure do not understand why. It's almost like a self-entitlement, I guess. I get it. It's money, but you don't move to Thailand if you don't want to play by the rules. There are other visas where you don't have to tie up the 800,000. There's the DTV right now, and yet people will still complain about it loudly online, and every now and then you can't stop but overhear the guy 2 booths over yelling and screaming about how stupid Thailand's immigration laws are, and land of smiles, hell, this is the land of smirks, and I just hate those people. Luckily, they're kind of few and far between here in Thailand. They might come and they'll leave. They'll go somewhere else that's just a little easier and not so much a scam in their opinion. So myself, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm living here in Thailand and I'm allowed to do so legally. Sure, I did the visa process on my own, and I'm not going to say it's difficult, it's tedious. And I have worked with an agent one time, and that, I can't really believe how easy that was. So when I go to do my next renewal on my non-O for retirement, I'm probably going to use that guy. I don't want to quote exact figures. I can't remember. $300, I think, to do the extension. Again, I don't want to waste $300, but I know how it is to have to make that appointment and then hope the bank statements that sometimes take 6 days to get from Bangkok Bank, and don't tell me you can download them off the internet, because I tried that and went in and tried 3 different immigration officers, and they all sent me packing and said you had to get the originals from Bangkok Bank. So if you're doing that up in wherever, Udon Thani, that's not how it's working down here in Bangkok. It's just a little problematic, where with that agent who goes in and slaps everybody on the back, and they're all smiling and happy to see one another, and I'm in and out of there at no lining up early or worrying about an appointment. You just roll in at 9 and you're walking out of there at 9:45 with not only your visa extension but your multi-entry. And this is Soi 24. The two towers you see way off in the background is the Marriott Marquis on Soi 22. And there's a really nice little 11-acre park, Benjasiri, right in the middle. You'll have a big pool, big jogging track. There are 4, I believe, basketball courts, multi-use courts, basketball, pickleball, volleyball. It's a nice park. And this is looking down Sukhumvit Soi 24, one of the most popular streets for beautiful condos and all. Again, with my little channel, I get all kinds of comments, and I have to come across all different kinds of people. If they're clearly a jerk, I just block them. I'm not going to argue with a jerk who's leaving a comment about, oh, Bangkok sucks, you should have been here, and whatever, 1999. Well, I've been coming to Southeast Asia since 1984, so I got you beat there. And I don't have to be told in a comment about every girl's just walking around on her cell phone and blah, blah, blah. I don't get it. I'm not sure where you flip that switch. I guess when I was younger, I always thought there was always that one guy on the block or on the next street over that your dad just kind of taught you, hey, just avoid that guy. He's had kind of a hard life, and he's just a grouchy old guy. Well, he was probably in his 50s to begin with, and I don't know, he just assumed like he was an 80-year-old man. But I guess somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought you're allowed to just be grouchy as you get a little older. Now, if you were a jerk in your 20s, you're going to be a jerk in your 60s and 70s. And if you're a jerk who's been living in Thailand since 1999, you're going to be saying how it stinks and you're wasting your time moving here now, and all the women are terrible because you've gone through a couple of bad relationships or whatever the case is. Or I hate seeing all these 20-somethings walking around making YouTube videos and all. I think it's great. Now, I get it. I'm trying not to be rude, walking into a bar, sticking a camera in everybody's face with a floodlight. You'll see some of that over here. But for the most part, if somebody in their 20s or 30s can figure out how to live over here in Thailand, if it's teaching or digital nomading or whatever you want to call it, I personally think that's great. And I'm almost turning 60, so I'm not sure where you flip the switch and start being that old guy with a get off my lawn. Yeah, I've been coming to Bangkok long enough where I remember before cell phones and YouTube and all that, where every single expat was writing a book or writing a detective novel or on and on. Yeah, okay, I guess YouTube is the new detective novel. And there's nothing wrong with writing a book. It's just wrong when the guy who wrote that book is maybe upset that nobody read it, and he wants to put down some of these younger guys that are out trying to make a video and have a little fun. And I'm not sure what time it is, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Everybody's heading home. This 24 can be a very busy street. So yeah, I think my 60s are going to be great. I'm living in one of the greatest cities in the world, my favorite city. I have great friends all over the world, and I'm going to enjoy myself. 60 to 70, I'm going to do it up. I did a pretty good job up until age 59, but yeah, if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it. And again, I don't have too many regrets in life, but when I see these younger people that are over here in their 20s, in their 30s, and they're getting it done, if they're investing online or Bitcoins or whatever is going on here, programming, somewhere in the back of my head, I'm wondering, should I have did that? You know, should I have not taken that 3-week trip and just set up shop in Colombia or Argentina or Bangkok, Thailand, and seeing how that worked out. I feel I kind of went the easy route, if you can call working 37 years federal easy, and I wouldn't confuse it with being easy, but I did have that pension at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, I guess that's the more traditional way that is maybe going by the wayside. But for those folks out there, ooh, that's a beautiful Porsche. I like it. Some people might like the color, but you know who you are. If it's just not pulling the trigger to get that extra pile of money, and then you're just going to come over and never spend it anyhow, come on over now. I mean, Don't wait until you're 72. Come on over and enjoy as early as you can. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you for watching. I'm going to run across the streets. I have to do an errand, and then I'm going to head on home. It seems like it might start raining here in a little bit. We'll talk to you really soon from Bangkok, Thailand. And consider subscribing to my little channel if these looks around town are going to be something that interests you. We'll see you later.